Hello kids, today we are going to revise the lesson Adaptation in Plants. In the previous class, means last year, now you are 5th standard. We are going to revise the 4th standard lessons. Means you learned this lesson in the previous class. Okay, in this lesson we learned about meaning of adaptation, adaptation in different kinds of plants, on land and in water. Adaptation in plants, adaptation in different kinds of plants on land and in water. You know kids, the natural surroundings in which living things, it may be plants, animals, lives, feeds and reproduce, called habitat. The natural surrounding in which all living things lives, feeds and reproduce is called the habitat. Understood now? What is habitat? Where the living things, or maybe in the plants, they lives, feed and reproduce. That surrounding, natural surrounding, that is called the habitat. Now, what is adaptation? The process of developing certain features to suit young one's environment. What is adaptation? Look here kids. See in this picture. Adaptation is the process of developing certain features to suit one's environment. Means where they lives, where they grow, they adapt their natural environment. Water plants live in water, grow in water. Land plants on terrestrial, means on above the land, ground. They grow on ground, they live on grounds. Adaptation is the process of developing certain features to suit one's environment. In this one, adaptation in plants, terrestrial plants. Plants that grow on land are called terrestrial plants. In Latin word, terra, terra meaning land, terra means land. Terrestrial plants means plants that grow on land, they are called terrestrial plants. In Latin word, terra means land. Plants growing on mountain and hills. Plants grow on mountain and hills. Some plants grow in water, means under the water, on the water. Plants grow in desert. Spruce, cedar, fir, pine, they are the mountainous plants. Coniferous trees. Plants that grow in desert are ball cactus, desert spoon. They are adapted that one nature. These plants need less water. Very hot during the day and very cool at night because of the poor rainfall. Some features of desert plants grow. The leaves are modified into spines to prevent a loss of water by evaporation. These also help the plants to protect themselves from animals. Some desert plants have thick and fleshy leaves and stems which help them into storing water as well as in photosynthesis. Some desert plants have roots spreading wide near the surface, while have those that deep into the ground in search of water. Prickly pear means Opotinia. Ball cactus, Opuntia. Ball cactus are some desert plants that adapt its climate. In desert, very hot climate and very poor rainfall. Plants growing in plains. Plants growing in plains, most of the vegetable plants and fruit plants, banana plant, apple plants, mangoes, crops, some crops are there, and vegetables too, cauliflowers, peas, etc. Plains are wide and fairly warm region. Some areas in plains experience a hot and wet climate, while in some others it rains all through the year. Naturally, plants grow in different areas of plant, adapt themselves of the immediate environment. Useful plants grow in the plains include cereals, fruits, vegetables, and other crops. Winter are suitable for the growing food crops like wheat, maize, jowar, etc. People tree, gulmohar tree, shisham tree, poplar tree. People tree, gulmohar tree, shisham tree, poplar tree are the trees that grow on plain areas. Some of these plants also grow on hill stations, but not more. Most of the trees grow on plain areas. Some trees growing in plains lose all their leaves in winter and begin to grow leaves in summer. Such trees are called the deciduous trees. These all our trees are deciduous trees. Teak and coconut tree. Teak and coconut tree grow in a hot and wet area of the plains and evergreen. They not shed all their leaves at a particular time. Plants in grasslands. Grasslands are vast areas largely covered with grasses with a few or no trees. About 1/4 of the Earth's land area is covered with grasslands. These areas do not receive much rainfall and the climate is hot and humid. The lower part of the grass remains rooted in the ground and they germinate into rainy season when it receives rain. Plants in marshy areas. Plants that grow in marshy areas. Marsh is a type of wetland. It is mostly submerged in water. Such an area is usually found near the meeting point of rivers, oceans. The soil is sticky but not always a clay. It also has a high salt content. Near the seas, seawater is salty, no? The plants that grow in marshy areas are called the mangroves. The plants that grow in marshy areas, that plants are called the mangroves. The soil being covered with water, does not allow air to reach the roots of the plant. Therefore, these roots adapt to these conditions by growing upward and taking in the air from the atmosphere instead of taking it from the soil. They need air, no? So that the roots grow upward. Such roots are called breathing roots. The soil always covered with water, so the air will not reach the soil roots, so that the roots of these mangrove plants grow upward. Understood, no kids? These roots are called breathing roots. Mangrove trees grow in marshy areas. These plants are called the mangroves and they grow in marshy areas and they have breathing roots. Okay, kids? Now see. Aquatic plants. Plants that grow in or near the water. Some plants grow inside the water, some plants grow near the water. That plants are called aquatic plants. The word aquatic is derived from the Latin word for water means aqua. Water means aqua. These plants are naturally adapted to living in wet conditions. Aquatic plants predominantly grow in water. Usually, the aquatic plants are aquatic plants. These plants are of three types: floating plants, fixed plants, underwater means submerged plants. Usually, the plants are classified on the basis of the position of the roots and the leaves. Aquatic plants are classified on the basis of their position of their roots, leaves. Understood, the kids? Okay. First of all, we see floating plants. Some plants float freely on the surface of the water body and grow on their own leg. For example, pistia, hyacinth, and duckweeds are some aquatic plants. Underwater plants or submerged plants. Hydrilla and Vallisneria are submerged plants. Plants that grow underwater or completely submerged underwater are called underwater plants. Look here, kids. Look in this picture. Both plants are there underwater, inside the water. Fresh water plants such as Hydrilla and Vallisneria, also known as the tap grass, grow underwater. These plants are fixed in muddy soil. They have thin, narrow, flexible stem and leaves. This helps them to bend in direction of flow of water and not to break. The surface of such plants is adapted to exchanging gases dissolved in water, since they do not have stomata. These plants do not have stomata. Now see, these plants are insectivorous or carnivorous plants. Plants that eat insects. Plants that eat insects like a spider, mites and small rodents are called insectivorous or carnivores. In plants also carnivores are there. Plants that eat insects. They have certain special features that help them to trap the prey. The Venus fly trap and the pitcher plants are insectivorous plants. These two plants are insectivorous plants. Both attract the prey with their sweet fragrance. As soon as the insect lands on its leaves, the Venus fly simply sets its leaves, thus trapping the poor insect inside. And the pitcher plant is shaped like a pitcher with its leaf, acting as a lead to trap the prey. The plant attracts insects with its sweet fragrance. As soon as insects sit on its slippery surface, it slips into the pitcher. When the insects slip inside, the lead sets in on the pitcher immediately. This type, the insectivorous plants are catch their prey. Understood, no kids? Plants also eat insects, so that these plants are called insectivorous or carnivorous plants. Understood, no kids? Types of plants, adaptation or in plants. Okay? Your homework is you read the lesson, because these are the revision lessons are there. Already you read it, you written all question answers, grammar, but again once time you read the lesson. Understood, no kids? And remove small points from this lesson. Make a short note about plants. Adaptation means what? Habitat means what? Types of plants. Okay? Thank you, kids.